Hi, this is Angelina Greene, the bad girl, and you have tuned in to Rockstar Underground Lounge. And I have with me tonight the band Sledd out of San Diego. Is that correct?
That would be correct, yes.
All right. Well, tell us, what have you guys been up to?
Well, we're celebrating 30 years this year as a musical group, for one. And
Step forward.
we have some good stuff brewing. We're working on some new material. We're currently in the studio. We have a big show coming up here in a few weeks. We're playing at NAMM. We're playing one of the NAMM after parties Saturday evening, January 25th at the Grand Theater. And if people are interested, they can hit us up. We got tickets for that too. So that's what we have going immediately. We're writing and we're waiting on some tour dates. And we got a date today. I think we're playing with Pat Travers May 31st. That's always fun to get dates, you know. But for us, in our history, we've toured nationally as a support act with bands like Tesla, Great White, Queensryche, bands like that. And the four of us are original members. Carrie, Dino, and Mike are co-founding members. And Mark's our brother, just came on board about a year ago for us playing bass. He's a great addition to the band. And we're just head to the grindstone time because it's a new year, right?
That's awesome. Carrie, I love your vocals. Like that's what stood out to me immediately, you know.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've been at it for a while. I love this band. We've just released two new tunes that are pretty cool. We finally found a producer that we feel that meets our criteria for what we're trying to go after. So that was really, really cool. Hats off to Frankie Torres for that. Yeah, and also a good friend of mine in music, Rainey, who's doing a lot of our social media and stuff. So we're starting to get plugged in, Spotify, all the platforms and stuff like that. So it's a good time for us and good time for NAMM. But I appreciate the compliment a lot. Yeah, I love the band, and I just feel like I kind of have a unique style of singing. So
it's nice. It's kind of familiar, yet it's unique.
Yes, man.
And I like that. I love that rough sound, but you have a higher range with that.
Well,
and that was interesting to me. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, I've been singing covers like off and on, so it's helped me strengthen my vocals again. And I appreciate that, man. It's fun to sing, and I love doing it. And this is a good band to do it with, so appreciate it.
Very tight band. And Dino, the drummer, how long have you been playing drums, sir?
Probably 50 years.
Wow, you're amazing. I'm a drummer.
He's also my brother.
Yeah.
We've been together for a long time.
Yeah, wow. I've been doing it a long time. I originally pretty much put this band together on paper. And then it was Pete, me, and Carrie. We were playing in a cover band back in the day, 95. And then Carrie's like, you got to try this guitar player. I know this guy, Mike Feminella. You got to get this guy. We brought Mike in the loop. Mike's been in the band, back in the band. It was a wonderful thing. The chemistry worked. And it's been a good fit, you know. So I'm going to let Mike sit up here for a second.
I'm very interested, Mike. You're very superior.
Thank you. Basically we just try and do our own thing, and it comes across how it comes across, but we have a lot of different influences, and you can kind of hear it in the music. It has a heaviness, but it's also catchy, and we try and have hooks in the songs, so I think we're on to something good. Especially with Carrie's vocals and these guys singing background vocals, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's very strong, and I hear like I want to say like some AC/DC influence.
That's possible. For sure. I think you can kind of hear a little bit of everything in there. You know?
Yeah, we're huge fans. There's so many influences.
I would say for me is Rush, Sabbath, AC/DC. Yes, even I want to go that far. And then some heavier stuff, maybe, all the way to King Diamond. I don't know.
There's a lot in there. It makes it very unique. It's like gumbo.
We're not really trying to do anything specific.
We're just doing
what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it sound a little bit different. We're not trying to follow any kind of trend. You notice we have guitar solos. We're not trying to hide from that, and we're basically doing what we just feel like we want to do.
Yeah.
If we like it, then that's what we do, you know?
That's it.
Exactly.
So I want to bring Mark up here.
Yeah,
Mark's the newest member.
Mark, he's the
Hello.
newbie.
And I want to give a little background on Mark. So Mark was playing in our cover band, and I kept telling him, the minute something happens and I need to bring a bass player in, I'm going to bring you in. Well, we were playing a show with Jack Russell's Great White a little bit over a year ago. God rest Jack's soul. He was a great friend of mine.
Yeah, we knew Jack well.
Mark was actually working security as Jack's personal bodyguard that night.
Oh, wow.
And within 6 months later, we were on the road with Jack. We were actually playing in New York, in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. And Mark played bass on all those shows. So it was that quick how we wound up in the band. You know what I mean? Last year.
Wow.
2023, actually, that was. And God rest Jack. He just passed in the last 3 months, you know. And there's a big thing for him next week at the Whiskey. God willing.
I think we're all going.
If these fires don't stop
fires,
and the Whiskey's still standing, we're supposed to have something next Tuesday night. Robbie Lochner's having a big benefit with the rest of the Jack Russell's Great White Band. And they're honoring the life of Jack Russell and, you know, what he meant to their band and what he meant to the Strip and everything he did.
We've been personally invited to the show, so we're excited about that. I don't think we're going to play, but you never know. We don't know what's up.
I'm going to let Mark do a little talking about what made him want to come in and what made him want to be part of Sledd. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how you doing, Mark? I love the bass. I love playing bass too.
Thank you. It's fun. Definitely laying down the heavy grooves for the band, so it's really fun.
Backbone.
Yeah, absolutely. Clicking.
And he contributes solidly with some great harmony vocals too.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Him and I, especially, we're supposed to do what we do, and all of us. Well, Carrie, Mark, and myself all actually have that propensity to sing lead vocals as well. But in this band, Mark and I are rolled in the harmony vocal, and you can hear it in the music. It's powerful. We like what we do, arranging the vocal stuff. So yeah, Mark.
It's an extremely powerful band, and I was highly impressed. And I'm very difficult to impress.
Well, thank you. It's really fun, and you know. I remember years and years ago, back in the late 80s, I remember going to the clubs, and I remember meeting Dino and Peter, or at least seeing them in Nemesis years and years and years ago.
Cover band.
And I went up north for a while, and then I came back to San Diego, and I ran into these guys and told them I remembered them, and started playing with their cover band, and then they offered me the opportunity to play in Sledd, and it's just been an amazing journey. It's like to know these guys from way back, but we probably didn't remember each other, but just to be a part of it and to go on tour with these guys has just been really, really fun for me. It's been my first tour and my first time really playing a circuit like that, and to finally put all these years of work into playing music and entertaining people, which has been, the dream. So
that's the fun part.
It is. It really is.
Well, I'm so glad to meet you, and
nice to meet you too.
I look forward to maybe being down there and meeting you guys personally.
Awesome. That would be great. We would love to see you.
Peter, I see you singing your heart out over there and playing the keys, and that, I mean, what feel you have.
Well, a lot of times in the style of music that the band approaches, it's not really has a big keyboard influence. But guys like Jan Hammer and John Lord and Ray Manzarek were really big influences on me, Rick Wakeman. So somehow or other, I just found a way to get to, it's a niche, right? It's almost like there's a diagram that's been drawn, and I get the opportunity to add the color.
Let me cut in and just say this.
Go
it's
ahead.
like Kansas style vocals in an Alice in Chains band. Does that make any sense?
Yes, I like that. Yeah,
I mean,
I hear a lot. I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, because my mom was a music buff. I mean, she just had everything. So when I hear you guys, it's so refreshing because I can I mean, I like 1 minute I feel this influence, but it's like you've made it into something new, and that's what makes it so amazing.
The important thing is from all those influences, we developed our own sound.
Exactly.
So I think when people hear different songs by us, they know it's us, and that's really one of the most challenging things to do.
It is.
An original rock and roll band that's bounced around for a long time. We've been on major national tours. We know a lot of people at the next level, and we've always really been well accepted and embraced by audiences that have never seen us before. And it's really cool, to be all over the country and meet people like that, right?
So I can definitely see why, because
do you know where the Charleston Music Farm was?
No, I don't.
It's Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, I know where Charleston is. Yeah.
Well, we played the music fair.
Oh, okay.
And the music farm there.
Okay.
But we played in North Carolina too
and we played at the Ritz.
The Ritz. You probably know the Ritz.
In North Carolina.
I used to have my a place I worked. We used to have our
Raleigh, Durham, I think that
it's a Live Nation venue, the Ritz. So it's not a house of blues, but it's like similar to that. Live Nation has lots of different clubs that carry different names as well. So we played Emo's in Austin. That's a Live Nation venue. And
I remember when you asked me earlier about the influences and stuff, and I forgot a major one that kind of crossed in our lives was Typo Negative.
Oh God!
And it was interesting too because I was in our cover band. We were covering that stuff, and
Mr. Christian,
and I had to sing it so low. I had to sing so low.
Yeah.
I had to sing so low that it kind of correlated my style into Sledd. So I kind of got this Transylvania kind of lower thing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a Creed slash. Because I was always the one that didn't really like the 80s kind of like high sounding wimpy,
No, you're definitely
stuff.
You're definitely not.
Yeah, if you remember Typo Negative, that's.
I was a big Typo Negative fan.
That's how I got my voice.
The Bloody Kisses album was really
another big influence on these guys. I know on Mike and Mike was about, and Kerry too, for that matter, was King's X.
Yeah, King's X.
Oh, Mike really liked King's X, and so did Kerry. Remember, they were big King's X guys.
Yeah, we played with them a couple times actually. And then you go to the core bands like Aerosmith and Zeppelin and bands like that were really major influences for us, and even Kiss. I mean, there's so many different influences in the band, and you want to try and believe when you get where we're at, you have the hardest thing is having your own sound and being able to develop it.
Well, you definitely have that, because the moment I heard you, I've never heard a band like you. But I could, because I'm so familiar with so many bands, I always try to guess like who possibly could have influenced you. What influences am I hearing there?
Right, I know, but
I've never heard a band like that.
And we worked with a lot of big name people. We worked with Al Petrelli from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. We worked with Mark Kendall, used to manage us from Great White. That's how we became friendly with Jack as well. And we worked with Brian Wheat from Tesla, produced our last CD. So we've toured on and off with Tesla for the last 15 years. They're a great band. They're a great bunch of guys, and they taught us a lot about how to relate to the fans and how to be a professional musical player.
Mike played with Mark Torian in the Bullet Boys for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark's a real close friend of mine for years.
Yeah, I know Greene.
Oh yeah, I know Rich.
Yeah, Rich. They call him Right too.
Yeah. Did you know Lorenzo?
When I first
James? Yeah.
No, Lorenzo Del Vecchio.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Megadeth.
He played with Rich in a band. Rich Greene. They had their own band with Greg Holliard, who was he was in God, what's that band's name? Dizzy Dean Davidson. What were they called? They were out of Philly.
They're cool.
You'll know these guys. They were pretty big. What was the name of that band? It wasn't Cinderella. It was
out of Philadelphia.
Brittany Fox.
Oh yeah.
Those guys.
I used to do promo for Brittany Fox, and also John Corabi with the Dead Daisies. I helped start that promotion.
Oh, we know John. Yeah, we had John.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
We also have a radio show. Dino, Hyman, Carrie, and myself, and We're on heard every Saturday night. It's called Swell Radio RFUA, and we developed it during the pandemic. Kerry had some investor friends of his that said, "Hey, we want to put you guys on the radio." And we thought they wanted to interview us, right? And they're like, "No, they want to give you a radio show." Like, well, what do we know about ever having a radio show? But like you, we jumped into the media end of the music industry, which has really been fun. And one of the people we had on the radio show was John Corabi.
Brian Tishy.
Look who we just had this past week.
We just had Alex Skolnick on this last week.
Alex was great.
From Testament.
Alex, such a cool
And
guy.
the best guy this year so far, the legendary Mark Farner from Grand Funk.
Yeah, we had Mark Farner.
Okay.
So
we've literally had about 250 episodes now in almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been getting my feet wet this year on the interviews. The year before I just did audio, but as far as podcasts, but I've interviewed Mark Bowles, you know.
Oh yeah, Mark. You had him on the radio
Mark
show.
Well, yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I love Mark, and also Paul Lydell.
Oh yeah.
His new Scream Therapy album,
Sure.
you know, and Chris Keys. You know,
sure, I know Chris.
ESP.
I know Chris. We played with him a bunch up at the
love
Whiskey
Chris.
with his band. Man, we played with those guys a bunch.
The Whiskey
Chris is wonderful.
They're out of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to more. And I'm so glad that I got to meet you guys. And I want to ask you, how did you pick the name Sledd?
So. I can't really remember.
Mike.
How did we put it in
Sled Dog.
Mike, remember that? Both.
Mike,
no. Hold on.
Actually, I thought it was Pete.
It was Mike and you.
I said.
And Mike's like butting into it.
Somebody said Sled.
Yeah.
And
that sounds cool.
Looking for a one-syllable name.
But you know what it was is, I was heavily into motorcycles at one point. You know what I mean? And a custom motorcycle or a custom hot rod car is a sled. And then we were talking one day, and Pete and Mike were like, "You know what? That's name's as good as any other name. Let's add another D on it and make it unique."
Right.
So we made it Sled with 2 Ds, and we never looked back. That was 30 years ago. That's pretty much how it went down.
You know, that's a scary name here in South Carolina because it's South Carolina Law Enforcement Division.
Oh, okay.
You say Sled, you're like, oh shit.
That's classic. Well, here's something that I remember. Quite frankly, the first guy to do our logo drew this 1932 sled car, and he happened to be vice president of the Hells Angel charter in San Diego. They came up with the sled.
Oh wow!
And he's still a member. 30-something years later, he's going on his 45th year, I believe. Wow. And so he did all the art on our first record.
And we've done a lot in the biker community. We've been in and out.
I have too. Yeah, I've played for Hells Angels, Outlaws. I played for the Outlaws for like a year. Southern Gentlemen, the Gargoyles, and the Hammerheads, and the Lost Boys. And the scariest ones you would think would be the Lost Boys, because that's why they call them the Lost Boys, because they were too mean to be in the Hells Angels. So, but it was actually the Hammerheads, and it was because they got so drunk, I thought one of them was going to fall on me and crush me. They were just passing out like left and right in the bar.
That's great. Yeah, we played all over the country. So the cool thing is, when we want to store our trailer, if we're pulling a trailer or something, I can call up one of our friends that's in the biker clubs, mostly the Hells Angels, and we'll drop our gear off behind usually their fence at one of the clubhouses when we're done with our gig. Of course, they're going to want some backstage passes, and that's fine. And then we know that we can sleep well at night and our gear's safe.
Yeah, the gear's safe.
So and it happened in Austin, Texas. A friend of mine, Monroe, who was a Vietnam veteran motorcycle club patch holder in the vets, we pulled into San Antonio. We were playing the Aztec Theater, and when we were checking into the hotel, the cops go, "Hey guys, you better not leave that gear overnight in this parking lot. You won't have it the next day." So our sound man at the time, Donnie, called one of his brothers. He was a Vietnam vet patch holder, and Monroe came down. He got some free passes. We played the show. We put the gear in his garage. The next night, it was halfway to Austin. We picked it up on the way out of town from San Antonio to Austin, and our stuff was always safe. Well, 2 weeks after we played there, Tony McAlpine was coming through there. He played there, and he left his gear in that parking lot of that hotel.
He took everything.
And he woke up the next day, and everything was gone.
Oh, wow. I'm going to tell you a fun story, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I was playing in an alley, like next to a bar. Like we come into town, we were going through, we're just kind of like touring around. And I said, let's see if we can make some money at this place, you know. We'll just tell them we'll play for free, you know, maybe we get some tips or something, you know. It was traveling money. So they said, yeah, you can play. They didn't know who we were, so they were like, you can set up in the alley, like out here they had like picnic tables and stuff, right? And I'm playing lead for the first time at this particular gig, and the drummer's just going, and I'm trying to think the lyrics. I see this guy out in the crowd, and I said, what's your name? And he's like, Luke. And I was like, that's my favorite name. You know, the drummer's going, and that gave me time to think of my lead, you know? And so then I start playing the lead, and then we take a break.
Not multiple.
This girl, this biker chick comes out, and she's like, that Angie guitar, you know? And he takes his beer bottle, the man, and smashes it up against the brick wall. He jumps on his motorcycle and tears down the alleyway, and my drummer's cases were stacked to high heaven, and it's just like a bowling alley. Like they go, he crashes into him. He comes back, gets off the bike, and says, come here. And I walk over there. He gives me $100. My agent says, Angie, not only did you get paid, but you got paid for inciting a riot.
That's great. That's a great story.
I can see that.
That's a great story.
Well, I'm glad you guys came on the show. Peter,
guys,
thank you so much.
Let's say goodbye.
Thank you so much for having us, Angela. We
really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah.
Hey, when do you go to the air?
I will just give me a few days.
Oh yeah, let us know.
Okay. Why don't we all say goodbye one-on-one? Go first, Pete.
I want to promote a little bit, so yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. We really
you're welcome so much. I love the way you
Carrie,
play.
thank you so much, Angela.
Well, we head your way. Hold on a second, man.
God bless and Happy New Year, sweetie.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, and thank you.
When we come your way in North Carolina, we'll hit you up. You got to come to one of our
Please.
shows. Mark, say goodbye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Mark.
Have a good one.
I'm so glad. It's very nice to meet you. So
Peace,
glad.
baby. Happy New Year. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye, Dino. Bye, Peter.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.